Welcome to Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners from around the globe. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube page, and share this video podcast on all social media sites you are on, such as Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen. This video podcast is available in three forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. I am the founder and president of Rickey, the grassroots community activist movement. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our Black media component. For those of you who don't know me, then get to know me by purchasing and reading my story. Quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, second edition. It's available as an ebook for $9.99 or as a paperback for $15 plus shipping and handling. I provide the link to my Amazon author page in the comment section below this video podcast. After you have read my story, and if you agree with my vision and plan to improve Black America, specifically Black Chicago, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform, get on camera, and let's talk about it. And encourage others to get involved with our cause and back this film project. We have upgraded our platform by moving from an audio podcast to a video podcast using StreamYard. We want to interact with our audience in real time through Facebook Messenger during our live stream. I created Gurkam in order to connect with other like-minded Black Americans, like-minded African immigrants within the United States of America, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, and Afro-Brazilians, as well as continental Africans. I encourage everyone on my Facebook page, everyone in my social groups who are Black entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, Black artists, African artists, Black authors, African authors, musicians, poets, community advocates, and spiritual leaders to make arrangements with me to come on this platform so that you can promote your products and services or share a 30-minute sermon with my listeners from the global community. We want to grow this platform for the global African community throughout the diaspora. For 32 years, the Black Americans have taken me for joke, specifically Black Chicagoans. They have rejected and overlooked my vision and plan to help improve our communities. All I have is my revised book, my virtual store, my online groups, and this platform. My film project is my last attempt to do something positive for my racial group before I cut and run to Africa. I want to use this film project to reach the Black masses and the Black world and let them know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people that's trapped in American ghettos for credibility before we expand to Africa, Brazil, and the Caribbean. Work with me while I'm alive. Don't wait until I'm dead. This is why I am reaching out to African immigrants within the United States of America to help speed up the process. I encourage African immigrants in America from the following African nations: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria, to please purchase my revised book, either the ebook or the paperback, and read my story. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve Black America, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform and let's talk about it. I encourage others to back this film project. Please share my information with your friends, including your non-Black friends. This will help speed up the process. Our aim is to raise $250,000 We are using crowdfunding. We have GoFundMe page, and we also have a PayPal page. If you are a U.S. citizen, then you can use our PayPal page as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit, faith-based, and community advocacy organization. My Christian business, we will raise the bar in Black America. We will separate ourselves from con artists, the Black Boule, degenerates, Democrat shields, hardened criminals, pedophiles, off-code Negroes, and urban terrorists. Those who reject my vision and plan will not be a part of this Christian business because it's membership-based. We will pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. Question at hand. How long will it take for this film project to get fully funded and made? It's up to the Black grassroots and the global African family. We encourage non-Black sympathizers to patronize our film project, but it's Black Americans and African immigrants who are GCAM members' responsibility to build it and to own it. I try to host my show every week in order to engage people on my friends list and people in my social groups until I'm able to raise the funds for this film project. Once the proceeds from the film starts coming in, then I will be in a better position financially to purchase property in Chicago, buy office equipment, hire qualified Black middle-class professionals and African immigrants within the United States to work with me in building the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. I refuse to be ignored. Those of you who will work with me will go down in history with me and Sister Renee. Lord knows I want to do more than just news and social commentaries, but at this point, this is where I'm at. I'm working on a shoestring budget. All of my funds go towards bills, food, and rent. Without financial support from the Black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my God-given assignment, which is to build the best African-American business within the United States of America, Rickey of Chicago. This is a Nehemiah assignment. Upcoming events. Please mark your calendar for the following date for our monthly virtual conference. Facebook Live event, Saturday, August 31st, 2024. Theme, Waging War Against a 400-Year Mentality, Willie Lynch. Where? Facebook Live / StreamYard. Time, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South African Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. Title of this presentation, Exposing Black Boule Rickey Smiley for Defending Kamala Harris and Black America Worried About Project 2025 but Ignoring Biden's Title IX. Before I go into my presentation, I need to tell y'all something. Family, we need to pray for African immigrants and Afro-Caribbeans who are in the UK. I ran across a video by O'Shea Duke Jackson, a podcaster of Kengana. He reported on the riots in the UK. To watch the full video clip, just go to my Medium transcript, which is located in the comments section below this video podcast. Global African family, hear me and hear me well. We cannot afford to be caught up in a situation where we're unable to protect one another. From my understanding, a 19-year-old African British citizen killed 3 white girls. The police have him in custody, but a British mob is attacking every African immigrant, Afro-Caribbean, and Muslims they see on the streets. They are burning down their businesses. It's really bad. If only the global African family would have worked with me in helping me get this film project fully funded and made, then those African immigrants in Europe would have been in an African nation, building up the African economy. I'm just saying. I need everyone on my Facebook page who can to please come on my panel. We are looking for 8 people who are able to participate on our upcoming GRCAM virtual conference, Saturday, August 31st, 2024. If you're interested, then send me a direct message to my Facebook inbox. This online platform is not for entertainment, but rather a call to action. Black women raised $1 million within 3 hours of Kamala Harris' political campaign during a Zoom call. Why can't black women use that same energy towards supporting my film project? Out of 2,000 people on my Facebook friends list alone, only one person has donated to the film project. That's not cool, Black America. So I'm not just putting the blame on Facebook. I'm on other sites as well, Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn. But this is where I host my show the most, on Facebook. So that's why the burden is on Facebook, because this is where I do my show and all that. If we don't fight for our children, then no one will. Our first topic: exposing Black Boule Rickey Smiley for defending Kamala Harris. Today we're talking about Boule Rickey Smiley. I came across a YouTube video clip that I think the family needs to know about. First, I encourage all of my listeners to go to my Medium transcript, which is found below this video podcast in the comment section. Click on the link and scroll down to show and prove to listen to the full audio version. Boule Rickey Smiley does not like the conversation that's going on in social media by Black voters who are talking against Vice President Kamala Harris. Basically, what he said was, quote, "Why are all these Black celebrities making all these videos against Vice President Kamala Harris? I got treated badly in court too, but I'm voting for her. I'm sick of Black people on the internet talking about not voting for Kamala Harris. That means you're voting for Trump. Don't encourage other people not to vote. Where's that same energy for Donald Trump? Y'all need to block every last one of them from your Facebook and Instagram page. We can't unite on anything. We can't agree on a bucket of chicken. One person may want a hot dog. Black people get on my effing nerve. Stop believing everything you read and do the research. You can see her record and what she has done for Black people. We need to stand with her. She would make a great president and would be a blessing to be living in the time where a Black woman can become president of the United States of America," unquote. Family, we need economic tangibles in the form of reparations. That's the only way we can close the wealth gap between Blacks and whites in America. Boule Rickey Smiley is sick of Black people on the internet talking about not going to vote for Kamala Harris. If you're not voting for Kamala Harris, then you are voting for Trump. He continues the same line. He encouraged Black people to block Black people who are not going to vote for Kamala Harris. That's called bullying. If your Democrat shield show up, I'm going to block you because you're unhinged. And clearly, Rickey Smiley is unhinged. I told y'all, most of the Boule don't like Black people because they use the same anti-Black sentiment against Black people. What this man is saying is, don't wake up the Black masses. This system does not want you to think for yourselves. The Democrat shields want to continue telling Black Americans, vote blue no matter who. The problem is the majority of Black Americans, 90%, are voting against our own interests, and they are making it very difficult for us to live here in America. Now Black America is starting to catch on about demanding economic tangibles in exchange for our vote. This is why my film project is very important for the survival of Black Americans because, as I mentioned in my last video, podcast entitled Stand on Business, 10 Toes Down. If we don't confront this Willie Lynch mentality within Black society, our racial group in America as a collective will become a permanent underclass by 2050. The Black Boule and the Democrat shields have a problem with my message because if you keep talking about it, eventually it's going to catch on. This platform we always do our research and provide sources under show and prove, either news articles or video clips to back up my claims. I have a video clips of Kamala Harris laughing about locking up Black mothers. I talked about the Matrice Richardson's case. I'm not here to run my mouth. I come with receipts, and I'm trying to get people to interact with me on here as well. I created this platform not for entertainment, but for a call of action among like-minded Black Americans and like-minded African immigrants. The sooner we're able to get this film project fully funded and made, the sooner we can begin building Rickey of Chicago for credibility before we expand to Africa, Brazil, and the Caribbean. I want this to be an interactive. Every time I host these shows, I am documenting what I am doing. Black Chicago was overlooking my work and what I've been trying to do. And now I am blessed to have a global audience. With the help of God, we will turn my ideas into action for the sake of our children. I plan on replicating Rickey of Chicago in every African nation and every Caribbean nation that we set our foot on. Boule, Rickey, Smiley said we need to stand with Kamala Harris and that she would make a great president. In Rickey of Chicago, we will teach our members and students about the importance of politics and checking for policies that will benefit the African American community and the African immigrant community. The main issues that will affect Black Americans are the economy and open borders. We should also be concerned about business. We don't care about your sororities and fraternities because the majority of Black Americans are not Boule. The Black Boule has a track record of selling Black people down the drain. For example, people like Roland Martin, Joy Reid, and the Black Congressional Caucus, just to name a few. They fight for everybody else, but do anything for Black people because they're in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. Their job is to undermine Black progress and keep Black Americans on the Democrat plantation. Rickey of Chicago will be standing on business 10 toes down for Black Americans and African immigrants who are members of the grassroots community activist movement. Notice the Black Boule isn't pushing for reparations for descendants of American slaves. We know Kamala Harris' history. We know she was raised as an East Indian with her mother. She is not Black. She's not from the soils, and she's not a descendant of American slaves. She never had a policy that benefited Black Americans. Let's talk about Kamala Harris' record. The Biden-Harris administration has caused the migrant crisis in Chicago, as well as in New York City. I found an article from the Associated Press entitled, quote, Chicago responds to migrant influx stirs long-standing frustration among black residents, unquote. I am not going to read the entire article. You are more than welcome to do so. Just go to my Medium transcript in the comment section below this video podcast and click on the link. Scroll down to show and prove. I'm just going to touch on the main points of the article and give my 2 cents. The city closed Wadsworth Elementary School back in 2013. It was a blow to black residents. All of a sudden, the city reopened the school to convert it into a shelter for hundreds of migrants without the community's input. That added insult to injury across Black Chicago. Black residents are frustrated because our needs are not being met, while illegal immigrants who are crossing the borders illegally are given preferential treatment for breaking the federal law. They are cared for with a sense of urgency, and to add insult to injury, we're paying for this out of our city and state taxes. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Democrat Party who runs the city of Chicago. The migrant crisis that the Biden-Harris administration created. We did not have this issue under the Trump administration. On day one, the Biden-Harris administration got rid of border restrictions. They shut down the Keystone Pipeline. 2 weeks later, gas prices shot up the roof. They reinstituted catch and release, which means when illegal immigrants cross the border, law enforcement will fill out paperwork and then set them free. Many of them have came to Chicago, New York, and other major cities. But those 2 cities alone have taken millions of illegal migrants and millions of dollars to support them. They're getting housing, free food, and medical assistance. Yet, these same career politicians tell us, vote blue no matter who. Black Chicago has been voting for the Democrats for the past 60 years. For over 20 years, I've been warning Black Chicagoans to give my vision and plan a chance, but many have mocked me and others have just overlooked what I had to say. My revised book has been on Amazon now for 12 years and still barely selling. The same thing with items on my virtual store. I encourage Black Chicagoans back in 2020 to demand economic tangibles for our vote from both political parties. Again, Black Chicagoans ignore my warning. Now look at the situation we're in. Now we are in the era of consequences. We still have a chance to get this thing right. Our voices are not valued nor heard by these black politicians because they are in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. Their agenda is to dump all these illegal immigrants in the African American communities and neighborhoods so that illegal immigrants and their children can compete against Black Americans and our children for resources. They want to raise the cost of living in the cities to clean the city of working class and poor blacks and so-called underclass blacks. This Willie Lynch mentality will be our downfall in America if we don't confront it head on. Let's talk about how Chicago labeled itself as a sanctuary city. A sanctuary city means anyone can enter America, can come to those cities and be protected from being deported by ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, a law enforcement agency that enforces federal immigration laws and other laws to protect the United States from illegal immigration and cross-border crimes. Governor Craig Abbott out of Texas tried to talk with Joe Biden about the issue with open borders, Let's keep it a buck. The Biden administration is incentivizing them to come over here. Kamala Harris wants ICE abolished. She wants to make sure more people, especially from East India, could come over here. So that's why she's against immigration and for open borders, but it doesn't matter to her how this affects Black Americans. To career politicians, Black Americans are supposed to shut up and allow everyone else to come over here and get ahead of us. These same groups come over here talking crazy to us, calling us lazy, when in fact it was our ancestors who built this nation in the first place. They wasn't coming over here then. They're giving our tax dollars to them and they're fleeing their homeland and got the nerve to tell us we're lazy. That's very disrespectful. And if I catch any African immigrants or Afro-Caribbeans talking ill against Black Americans in my business, then we're going to expose them and kick them out. We ain't having that. We're going to be on one accord. We want to work together and heal from enslavement and colonization. That's what this is all about. According to the article, Chicago has spent $300 million of city and state funds. Community leaders are trying to ease racial tensions and channel the public frustration. Chicago and other large Democrat cities are having pushback in these election year. The Biden administration is now advocating a more restrictive approach to immigration. He's only trying to slow it down so Kamala can get elected. Like Chicago, let me publicly warn you, and other major cities, if you all put that woman in office, we will have even more, things are going to get even more worse. That's all I'm saying. It won't be a Black community or a Black neighborhood anymore. I'm just saying. We will be done. I don't want to hear anything after the election if she wins. Knowing all of our resources is going to illegal immigrants, that is the legacy of the Biden-Harris administration. Vice President Kamala Harris is just as responsible as President Joe Biden. She's running on his platform. I don't want to seem insensitive to the plight of what's happening with the migrants wanting to come over here to have a better life, but it's about survival at this stage of the game. All of a sudden, these career politicians come up with millions of dollars to address housing for illegal immigrants. Why didn't they have that same energy for homeless American citizens? Because these politicians don't care about American citizens or Black citizens. That's why they want us to stay at the bottom. Our Black tax dollars are subsidizing illegal immigrants. That's the issue. But once again, Black voters are told, vote blue no matter who. This migrant crisis has opened the eyes of many Black Americans. It doesn't have to be this way. We got the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, coming to Chicago sometime next week. It's going to be a plantation celebration. Most Chicagoans are planning to protest the placement of shelters in the Black community. It's not just Chicago. It's in every major city, specifically New York City, who are fed up with the explosion of crime in New York. None of these illegal immigrants have been vetted. They are just flooding the zone. Like I said before, if I was in charge of the border, I would only allow women and children into the country. Black Chicago, we need to work together, and we got to separate ourselves from these off-code Negroes that mean us no earthly good. As long as you keep voting Democrat, this issue will continue. It's not a Lori Lightfoot issue. It's not a Brandon Johnson issue. It's a Democrat policy issue. They're not dumping these illegal immigrants in affluent white communities. They're dumping them in urban areas where there is a large black population so that we fight against each other and keep the focus off who created the issue in the first place. The white supremacist financial elites want to cleanse urban areas where a large population of black Americans reside through urban gentrification. Urban gentrification is the process of changing the character of a neighborhood through the influx of more affluent residents and investments. In layman terms, urban gentrification is the process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new businesses, typically displacing current inhabitants in the process. The white supremacist financial elites also use eminent domain as a way to target black Americans' community. Eminent domain is the power to take private property for public use, the right of a government or its agent to expropriate private property for public use. I wrote and published my revised book in order to lay out a code for CAM members. The code is all the principles in my revised book. Black America has two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace survival. Those of you who are not CAM members, again, we will pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. If you want Black America to be a stepping stone for other groups, then vote for Kamala Harris. Look at what's happening to Black Americans in Los Angeles, California. Black Americans have been displaced. They are only 6% of the population now. They are outnumbered by Latinos and whites. The black vote is worthless. Right now, we still have the numbers. If you all put that woman in office, we will lose our neighborhoods, and our children will end up suffering. I'm just warning you. Think about the future of your child. Remember, Black Chicago, under the Biden-Harris administration, we got high inflation, prices of food, and high interest rates. We can't sit here and import more people in a struggling economy. The Democrats want Black Americans to be in a state of dependency. We need to be laser focused about the economy and business. In Ghettos, Chicago, we would teach our members and students about business, permits, and taxes. That's how they get Black people caught up. We live in the information age, so we have to upgrade our thinking. These other groups that come over here, they're thinking about getting the bag, meaning money. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this video podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Our second topic: Black America worried about Project 2025 but ignore Biden's Title IX. Black people are freaking out about Project 2025, something that Donald Trump has distanced himself from, and he denounced it. Joe Biden's rewriting Title IX. 24 states have objected to it. That's how horrible this legislation is, but no one is talking about it. This is disturbing because 24 states are against it. I found an article from the National Desk entitled, quote, "School Board Nationwide Grappling with New Title IX Rules Held Hostage," unquote. To read the full article, just go to my Medium transcript, which is found in the comment section below this video podcast. Click on the link and scroll down to show and prove. If you have a daughter, then you should think twice about voting for Democrats. I will not read the entire article. I will just touch on the main points. So basically, what the article is talking about is that public schools nationwide are trying to figure out how to handle Title IX new rules in their communities under the Biden administration. The U.S. Department of Education finalized the regulation in April and rewritten the 1972 federal civil rights law to prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity in all public education institutions. Additionally, the rewrite adjusts certain practice put in place for handling sexual assault complaints enacted under the Trump administration, including expanding the scope of what constitutes as sexual harassment. This law has been blocked in 26 states. Alicia Fern, a school board member of Orange County Public Schools in Florida, was thankful her state joined that list on the eve of implementation. The new rules did not align with her community, and parents demanding reversal of a district policy allowing students to use bathrooms based on gender identity. Under the new Title IX regulations, school districts are prohibited from implementing blanket policies banning students from using facilities based on their gender identity. Basically, this is about bathroom rights. We have more important issues to worry about. I don't care about your sexual orientation. That's your business. Listen, we're good, family. I see your humanity in everybody, but why are the Democrats so desperate to involve children into this? I just don't get it. This goes into effect August 1st, 2024. 24 states blocked it. There should be boundaries. You can identify yourself any way you want. And I respect that. But there needs to be boundaries, and that is the problem. They keep pushing the envelope. When I bring this up to Team Vote Blue no matter who, then they start acting dumb or try to deflect by bringing up Project 2025 conspiracy theories. This is now the law. For example, if you have a daughter that lives in one of these states that have approved Title IX, then Johanna man who identify himself as a girl wants to play on the girls' volleyball team or any sports offered to girls, then these schools receiving federal funding must allow Johanna man on the girls' team. And there's nothing the school can do to stop it. No one wants to have this conversation, but we need boundaries. What about parents' rights? Black Americans are so concerned about Donald Trump. I'm not supporting this from Joe Biden. This guy, Black America voted for 90% in 2020 and will be continued by Kamala Harris if she wins. Under the new Title IX regulations, school districts are prohibited from implementing blanket policies, banning students from using facilities based on their gender identity. Lawsuits were filed against the Department of Education, describing the regulations as illegal expansion of Title IX, with jeopardizing students' safety, since debate is ongoing, even in states where the regulation school board concerns have the green light. School board members for the District of Cambridge in Wisconsin is predicted a bumpy road ahead despite approving the regulations. The district is being held hostage by the federal government. Some have questioned whether the regulation will jeopardize students' freedom freedom of speech and put the school district at risk of losing funding. Parents have flooded Somerset School Board meetings to make their voices heard on the subject, with many raising opposition to. There's so much litigation. The Education Department has asserted it stands by the regulations despite the mounting lawsuits. It's amazing no one wants to talk about this issue. I don't think working parents have any idea how this affects their children. What are the Democrats trying to accomplish with imposing this law on parents and their children? Where are the black Christians? Why would you vote for a political party knowing they stand against Christian values? When I have these discussions with people that's on my friends list, they just want to talk to me one-on-one. They don't want to come on this podcast and get on camera and talk about it. It is what it is. I ask them, what policies are they voting for? They tell me they're voting because Kamala, she's black. They don't tell me any policy because she doesn't have any. I don't agree that a man should be allowed to play women's sports. I believe children and teachers should focus on going back to class and making good grades. They're trying to build a global idea that is oneness, and people have to live in their different ethnicities in their different cultures. They want to impose Title IX on us, and at the same time, they want to reward us by funding our schools. In other words, they're giving you funding in exchange for you to implement their ideology. But yet we forget that this is our money. I think Black Americans need to be waking up to the idea of social grooming of our children. That's what's really happening in the African American community. In contrast, when they do community planning for white communities, those communities get all kinds of investments, which creates jobs that's going to benefit white families. This gives them the advantage because the system was created by them for them. White America has access to more generational wealth that is passed down to the next generation, whereas Black Americans are constantly starting over time and time again because we don't understand the system that we are in, and that is the system of white supremacy. There are several definitions. One definition is the belief that white people constitute a superior race and should therefore dominate society, typically to the exclusion of other racial and ethnic groups. Another definition is the belief that the white race is inherently superior to other races and that white people should have control over people of other races. The social, economic, and political systems that collectively enables white people to maintain power over people of other races. I talked about how I was exposed to Pan-Africanism and white supremacy in my revised book. I was 8 years old during my stay in a group home. We had something called Afro Group to help Black youth learn more about our culture and our history. This is what I will pass on to our members and students in Rickey, Chicago. Black America as a collective lack financial literacy. Financial literacy is the ability to understand the effective use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. We don't have life insurance or wills. White America do a better job at financial planning because they have more access to wealth than us, due to American slavery. They have 246 years of free labor due to American slavery. The so-called founding fathers owned slaves, which put the U.S. government on the hook to owe reparations to descendants of American slaves. Our leaders didn't teach us about financial literacy, but our ancestors already knew it because they created Black Wall Street. In Kyle, Chicago, we would teach our members and students how to invest, put their money in a trust, and how to create wills. So the next generation will have a chance to make it in America. Let's keep it a buck. Not all Black Americans are able to just up and leave from this country due to economics. This is why it's so important that Gurkai or Gurkam members worldwide need to get involved with this movement while we still have a chance. Since the Civil Rights era, Black America don't have anything to pass down to the next generation. Reparation will be our last fight in America. I don't want to be bogged down with American issues. I don't want to die in America. I want like-minded African immigrants and like-minded Black Americans across the United States to work with me. First, by helping me get my revised book on the bestsellers list, so that way the Black world would take our cause serious. Secondly, I want Gurkam members worldwide to donate what they can to our film project so that we can reach the Black masses and let the Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people that are trapped in American ghettos, starting in Chicago before we expand to Africa, Brazil, and the Caribbean. That's what I want to be remembered for, and also for credibility. I want Gurkai Chicago to become the best African American business within the United States. I want us to represent the best of Black culture and the best of African culture. Going back to the topic, Joe Biden is basically saying that if you don't go along with the LGBT agenda, the public schools will not get funded. I got to give Trump credit for standing against the left. If they take down Trump, then the Democrats will destroy this country. Kamala Harris has the backing of the establishment behind her, which are billionaires and mainstream media. But Hillary also had the same thing, and she lost the election to Trump. This doesn't have anything to do with gender or race. This is an agenda that the Democrats are pushing. It's not only limited to LGBT issues, but also what's going on in the Middle East, Ukraine, and Russia. Under the Biden-Harris administration, you saw inflation in double digits, and that means your money has less value. People's 401k has been eaten up with inflation. The Democrats are hell-bent on getting what they want. They're willing to sacrifice anything to win another election. I'm an independent, so I have no commitment and no loyalties to any politicians or political parties. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this video podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites that you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. I'm going to send a challenge out to everybody that's listening to this video podcast. I need you all to support our film project so that we can move beyond cyberspace and get our story on the big screen to let the Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people that's trapped in American ghettos, starting in Chicago. Good Liberator, made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our campaign, either on our GoFundMe page or on our PayPal page, which will help fund marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. Please Please join the cam by joining either my Christian groups, Light of the World Inspirational Group, or Christian Spoken Word Network, or join my secular groups, Rickey of Africa, Rickey of Chicago, or New Black Voices of Media, etc. Also, exchange emails with me if you're serious about doing business with me, and also so that we can stay connected, because this is my third Facebook page. Hackers are forever bugging. I would like to thank everyone who have contributed or will contribute to support us on our GoFundMe page, or if you're a U.S. citizen, then you can use our PayPal page as a tax write-off, because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit faith-based community advocacy organization. You can also purchase items from our virtual store or purchase my revised book. The ebook is $9.99, or the paperback is $15 plus shipping and handling. We appreciate your support. You can find all of the links below this video podcast in the comments section. If you're listening to this audio podcast on Spotify, just click on the YouTube icon and look to the far right next to my photo, and it will say more links. Just scroll down. That's going to conclude our video podcast for today. We will see you on the next episode. Peace and blessings.